The time has come, the video that you've all been waiting for. I'm sorry it took so long, but we're done. Now, if you don't know what I'm going on about, my name's Tom and I used to be a carpenter. And a couple of years ago, I decided to quit my job doing that to become a full-time eBay reseller instead. And over the last couple of years, I've been working out of this tiny little shed that I've got in my back garden, but it didn't take me long to outgrow this place. So I had to find somewhere that was much bigger, local to home, and also somewhere that isn't going to break the bank and take too much away from my profits. Now, trying to find somewhere like that is near enough impossible. So using my carpentry skills, I managed to find a way around that. I come across this place which has basically been disused and near enough abandoned for the last 20 years. Now, I got in contact with the landlord and I proposed an idea to him. I said, look, if I go into this place and out of my own pocket, renovate it for you, do it all up, make it into a nice presentable place, put electricity in, running water, everything like that, so that I can use it, I would then expect to have a rent-free period to recuperate all that money that I've forked out, and then I'd expect the rent to be cheap after that time period. I proposed this idea to him and he said yes. So the following video that you're about to watch is basically start to finish process of doing just that. Now, it is a long video, it's the longest one I've ever made. This is 4 months worth of footage all crammed down into one video. So bear with me, sit back and relax and enjoy. So I haven't got much done, but I have made a start on this. And the first thing I've been doing is starting to paint the walls. I've got one coat on the ceiling and most of the walls. I haven't done this wall because I ran out of paint. But yeah, as you can see, it really is a night and day difference from this horrible orangey, manky yellow color to this nice bright white. Now, obviously I do need to do more coats, so it's not finished yet. But you can already tell that this is going to make a huge difference in here. It's really going to help brighten it up, make it look a lot nicer and a lot cleaner. Now, the mistake I made the other day when I come up here is forgetting that I have no access to a toilet. So I come up here and I did all this painting and I had to go elsewhere to use the toilet, which wasn't ideal. So the first thing I'm going to do today is break into that toilet that's been locked for 20 years. So hopefully we can start using it. All right, so I did come here the other day and I tried to boot this door down so we could get in here, and all I achieved was making a mess. So I've got my trusty old saw. It's time for a bit of brute force. Let's do this. Alright, my battery just died then. Okay, I think I need to just boot it again. Fuck off. Oh, we're nearly there, nearly there. Broke the glass. Oh, God. Well, we're in. Let's have a little sneak peek. Nothing too exciting. But that's what a toilet that's been abandoned for 20 years looks like. Oh my God. There we go. Look at those cobwebs. Yeah, we need a good tidy up in here, but it's not actually too bad. 20 years of abandonment. Let's get them cobwebs down. Yummy. Oh my God, as if. Actually works. That hasn't been flushed in 20 years. Straight away, works first time. See if the taps work. Oh my God. Sweet. We have a bathroom. Do you know what? I thought it'd be a lot worse than this. Just needs de-cobwebbing, new door, bit of a clean, and then we're all good to go. We've even got a heater here. I wonder if that works. Doubt it. Maybe. Oh my God, the light works. As if. So the light works, toilet works, sink works. Oh my God, the heater works. That actually is on and is heating up the room. Result. Right, so I went on a bit of a shopping spree yesterday and I went out and bought everything that I need to get this place finished. So down here I got a kitchen worktop with a little kitchen base unit with a drawer that goes in it, and that's going to be going in the back room there, just in the little alcove on the left. I'm going to have a little fridge underneath, microwave, kettle on top, just a few little bits like that, so I can make cups of tea and stuff, make my lunch on it and that. I've got a toilet seat, new one for the toilet outside, and then we've also got some plywood here, some 4x2s, and then the van is also full up with insulation as well. So most of that is for we're going to be building a soundproof wall in that back room there, just to completely seal this place off from the tenants that live in the house next door. It's one job which isn't going to be cheap, but it absolutely has to be done, just so that they can't hear me in here and I can't hear them. Just one of the required things I need to do. And then half of this ply as well is going to be used to board all of these windows up. So basically, these windows have been sat for 20 years. They're really, really old. This one is like, I'll see if I can show you it. It's completely rotten. And this isn't my building, so I'm not paying to put new windows in or anything. But just to suit it to my purposes, I'm just going to be putting some thick insulation board in here and then plying over it, plywood over the top of that. Basically just to keep the cold out and the heat in, because it's currently quite cold in here, and it is because of these windows, just because the glass is really old and really thin. I will be losing all of the natural lighting that does come in here, but we're going to be fixing that by putting bright lights in, basically, when the electrician comes and finishes off his bit. But yeah, that is my job for today, so let's crack on with that. Okay, so I've got the first bit cut. Now, I want as much insulation here as I can get. So basically I want it to fill this space here and this space. And in order to do that, I've had to notch the edges off of this board, which has been a bit of a pain, but that will literally double up the amount of insulation that I can get in there. So hopefully it'll fit nice and snug. Very, very close there. Oh. That's what I didn't want to do, is break the edges. Not too bad. One thing I do need to do, I think, is just trim down these edges. Okay. Alright, that should now slide down. Show you. So there we go, that's now notched around there. Fits nice and snug. That's as thick as I can get it basically on there. And then basically what I'm going to do now, once I've filled the whole window, is cut the same shape out with plywood And then I'm literally just going to screw through the ply, through the insulation, straight into the frame, and that should just hold it there. Okay, that's one window insulated. Now the hardest part about this is getting it in nice and tight, because if you have big gaps around the edges, it doesn't work as efficiently. So yeah, that is the hardest part, but it's tight enough around the edges there, so let's do the job. Okay, so that's the first one done. Pretty pleased with that. I can already tell just by standing next to this that the cold air has stopped coming through there. It's going to be nice and toasty in here. Once they're all done, we've got the power on and we can whack a little heater in here, and the heat won't escape now, so probably only take 5 minutes to heat this little room up. So yeah, just need to repeat the process, 1 down and 4 more to go. Well, I just took the plywood off of this window and I didn't realise quite how bad this was. This is absolutely rotten. Yeah, it's just falling to bits. So this one's going to need a little bit more work doing on it. So my plan is, I'm going to take this middle bit off. Live shot there. Alright, so that with that gone, I can still get my whole sort of insulation in now. But what I'm going to have to do, just to stop the water getting in, is I've got to put like a plastic damp-proof membrane in that will come sort of down here and over and out. Because obviously this is a bodge job, what I'm doing really. It's just to make it good enough for what I need it for. But we do want to stop this water getting in. So by putting a plastic membrane in that goes over that ledge, any water or rain that does hit that will just trickle straight off and out. And then I'll put my insulation and then my ply. As I say, it is a bit of a bodge. This isn't a proper job, but it will do me for what I need. Okay, so that took me a lot longer than I was expecting it to, but that is all 5 windows completely finished. And that has already made a huge difference in here to the temperature. So now that that's done, all of the hot air that is in here gets kept in here and all of the cold air is kept out, which is exactly what we wanted. Now the only issue is, you may be able to tell, but it is a lot darker in here now. We have lost all of the natural light that was coming into this room. If I just turn this off, as you can see, it's pretty dark in here. I did whack a bulb in up there and surprisingly that works. But yeah, it is pretty dark in here. So the way that we're going to be addressing that issue is once the room's finished, and I get the electrician back in here, I'm going to get him to just put in a load of really bright lights in here, just to make up for the fact that all the natural light is gone.
1 eternity later.
And this is what it looks like now. It is all painted now. We've got the final coat on all over, and that is looking nice and fresh, nice and clean. It did take me a lot longer than I was expecting it to. Mainly because I originally used the wrong paint. I painted it twice all over, but I used like this real cheap emulsion paint. And because of this sort of rough brickwork, it just didn't come out very well at all. Like I was leaning on it with my hand and stuff, and all the dirt from my hands would come off on the wall. And I knew for a workspace like this, that just wouldn't last very long at all. It wouldn't stay fresh and clean for very long. So basically, I took the plunge, I bought a better paint, much better paint. This is like a satin oil-based paint. It's a lot more durable, it's wipeable, and yeah, it's come out really, really nice. I'm really, really pleased with how this has turned out. So with that all done, we can now make a start on this room. Now, as you can see, it's a bit of a tip in here. So as I've been working on that room, I've been storing everything in here, all my tools and stuff, but also I've been storing all of this, which is all unlisted stock. So since I've been working on this place, I haven't had a lot of time to list anything on eBay. But all my contacts have been still ringing me regularly, and part of the deal with them is when they ring me, I have to just go and buy it because they want it out the way. I've also been making a note on the walls here with some post-its of the date I bought it, who I got it from, and how much I paid, just so I don't forget, because otherwise it would just be a big pile of stuff that I don't know where it's from, don't know how much I paid. But if we take this pile for instance, I paid £200 for all that. What I've been doing is pulling out a few bits to make me back that £200 just to recuperate the money. Otherwise I'd have loads of money going out, none coming in. So I've sort of been keeping on top of recuperating my money, but I haven't really been making any profit yet. But yeah, once this place is done, I have a huge amount of stuff to crack on with. But yeah, it's actually ridiculous. There's so much good stuff in here as well. And I might even show you a few little bits in a minute, because my next job is to basically move all of this stuff out of here into this room so we can make a start on this and get it finished. Okay, so I've just spent the last few hours bringing all that stuff in here, and that took me absolutely ages. There's so much stuff here. But what I've been doing, as I've been bringing these different job lots in, I've been sorting through it all and putting stuff into different piles. So this pile here is all stuff to go to car boot. Now, there's quite a lot of decent stuff in here, but a lot of it's stuff I can't really be bothered with to put on eBay. So I'm just going to take it to car boot, get some money back in, get a bit of space cleared. I've made a bag here of all the Wii stuff I could find. That's just full of consoles and controllers and stuff. So that's going to go home so I can top up my Wii listing. This box is full of PS2 controllers. And the reason I've put all them together is because at home I've got about 30 PS2s with no controllers. And then over here, I've put all this stuff together. So this is all games. We've got a few handhelds. We've got a boxed PS2 and a huge bag full of big box PC games. And I've put them together because I'm planning on doing a dip show and whatnot. Again, just so I can get a nice lump of money in quickly, all in one show. I've got a load of other boxed consoles and stuff at home that I want to get rid of. So it's all perfect stuff for a whatnot show. Now, this bag of big box PC games I have put to the side for the dip show, but I've been meaning to collect big box PC games for a while now, and some of these are really, really nice. So I probably will end up keeping a lot of those. And then basically this is all the rest of it. So this is all the separate job lots. What I've done is I've put cardboard dividers in between each separate job lot. I've put my post-it notes back on the wall just to keep track of where things are from and what I've paid for them. But as you can see, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Once this place is finished, I'm going to have a huge amount of stuff to crack on with. But yeah, this is getting a bit silly now, the amount of stuff I've just got sat here unlisted. And I need to get this place finished quick, because the longer it takes me, the bigger these stacks are going to get, and I am going to end up running out of space. So I'm now ready to start cracking on with this room. So all that stuff's been cleared out. I've moved all the materials to the back of the room. I've protected the floor. And the next job we need to get on with is removing these handrails. We're going to be flooring over that stairwell opening. And then I've got to build a stud wall that covers that entire back wall, which I'm going to fill with soundproofing insulation so that we keep any noise from in here when I'm working from going into that bedroom, which is through that doorway there. So once that wall is in and completed, you'll pretty much never have known that there was a doorway leading down into that other property. Now, I have also had the plumber in the other day. We've had a couple of radiators removed. We had one on there, and there was also one on there as well. Those are both gone because I can't actually use those. I'm going to have my own sort of heaters in here. And they also fitted a waste pipe in here going out and down the building, and that is going to be for a sink that we're putting in. So this little alcove here, we've got a kitchen worktop that's going to go across, got a little kitchen unit to go on the side, going to have a little fridge underneath, and then little microwave, things like that. So this will just be a nice little kitchen area tucked away to the side. And the electrician has also been and installed this power meter box thing here. I had to help him with that, and we've had to run this cable all the way through the loft, up there through that loft hatch, through the house, down into the shop that is below this bit where I am. I am currently up in a 500 or 600 year old roof. I'm working with the electrician, trying to get the power through from the road down into my unit, and this is the house we're in. But just look at this roof, man. This is ancient. Feels like I'm in an old pirate ship or something. It's that old. Just the way they built stuff back then is crazy. Look how they just slap it together with no order. You'd never get away with that today. But yeah, I'm not too fond of spiders either, and I'm sure there's loads up here. But anyway, the Sparky's calling me, better get back to it. Yeah. Right, 1 second, let me try and grab it. Okay, so the Sparky has just drilled a hole through the ceiling under there. He's attaching a wire to that. I've got to now pull that up through this hole that we've made. And then we've got this massive... Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, so we've got that pulled up. And now what we need to do is tie that around this massive armoured cable, which has been a nightmare getting up here, I tell you. We've got to fix that onto there. And then he's going to pull that down into the house. Then we've got to somehow feed it through the house, through the floor, through the ceiling, then into a shop which is next door, which is where the meat is going to be put for my unit. And yeah, then it will run all the way through here and into mine. So this is a lot of work. It's very dirty and dusty up here, but it's all got to be done. That was a massive job, and it's not actually connected yet, but that's one step closer to being finished. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is try and get this carpet up off of the stairs, because once we've floored over this opening, it will just be bare floor, and it will look a bit weird having green carpet everywhere else and then just wood there. So what I'm going to try and do is reuse that carpet and then lay it back down on top of the flooring that we're going to put in. Right, so that's off. That should hopefully be big enough to fill this back in once we've floored over it. I should be able to just nip them off with this. Neighbours aren't going to like this noise, but it needs to be done. Breaking all the teeth off the blade there. There's nails in it. We've got a socket here we're going to have to take off. Yeah, this socket, I'm going to take this off and I'll leave that loose, and I'll get the electrician to get rid of that or move it or something. But for now it can just stay there. It's nice and flush now. And then yeah, my flooring's probably going to sit on there. Maybe I have to build a frame under there for the floor to all sit on. mind just lift out this one. There we go. One side done. Now I'm actually going to keep these and put them up in the loft in case this ever needs to be reversed and all put back. It's all still there. I'm trying not to like break them or anything. And there we go. Right, so that's all the handrails off. Now what I'm going to do before I floor it and do the wall is I want to cut a piece of this Celotex, which I used on the windows in the other room, and I'm going to put it over the doorway just as an extra layer of soundproofing basically. This isn't designed for soundproofing, but it does block sound out. Now I had this piece left over. I've just measured the door and it's perfect size to go in there. So I'm going to cut that, stick that on, and then go from there. No. Well, I've just had to chop out a little bit of it there so it will go over the handle, but that should now fit. There we go. So what I'll do now is I can build my frame, build my floor, and then my wall will just sit just in front of that. So the bit where the sound gets through, it's just got an extra layer of soundproofing now. Okay, so I've made a bit of progress here. I've got the frame in and finished. I've cut my flooring to go in as well. But before I put the flooring down, what I want to do is take some of this Rockwool sound deadening insulation, and I'm going to stuff a bit down there up against that door. Might even put a bit in sort of that way as well. And then I also want to cut some more of this out and fit it in between these openings, and hopefully that will just seal that up nicely and stop all the sound getting through. So the more of this we put in, the better really. Just need to try and get as much of it against that door as possible, because that is mainly where the sound gets through. But we are obviously going to be putting the wall that we're building, that will also be infilled into that wall all the way up here, all the way around. So that whole wall is soundproofed. Probably shouldn't put cups of coffee next to dusty insulation. Wonder what insulation tastes like. Delicious. So that's that done. I've just stuck 3 layers in there, right up against the door. That should make a massive difference. Okay, so now we can get the flooring in. Lock the tongue in. And there we have one very insulated and solid floor. Okay, so now is wall building time. So in order to fix our timbers in, I've had to pull the carpet back and take all the trims and stuff off. So now we've got a nice flat surface to fix to. So our wall is going to be somewhere around there, and then that's going to be built right the way up, all the way to the top. And we have a wall. So that is all done now. That was a bit of a mission, I must say, but I'm pretty pleased with how that's turned out. That's come out nice and sturdy, it's nice and level. We've got our noggins in. Not that any of you watching are going to know what a noggin is. It's those bits in the middle there. But yeah, with that done, we can now move on to the fun bit. Not really, because I have to breathe all the dust in that comes off of these. But yeah, let's get the insulation in. We'll see what that looks like, and then we will go from there. Right, that is the insulation done, and I am very, very pleased with that. That was good fun doing it. Breathing in all the fiberglass. Delicious. But yeah, I can already tell if I put my ear up against this, it's just dead silence. Normally I can hear cars and all sorts from the road in the street. I can hear honking horns. I can hear wind coming through the loft hatch. I can still hear that a little bit because obviously that is open. But I'll be showing you something now, which is what I'm doing here. So just to neaten this up, as you can see, it's just looks a bit horrible, doesn't it? So what I'm doing is I've cut some bits of plywood out, and I'm just going to fix them all the way around that hatch, so that's nice and sealed off. I've also got to build a door that goes on this that is also insulated. I will be doing that, but I don't need to do that just yet. I'm just going to whiz my little trims on, just so that's nice and neat, and then I'm going to slap some ply all over that whole wall. I'll show you what that looks like, then I'll plasterboard it, then I'll show you what that looks like, and then that is finished. And that is what it looks like with plywood. That was a lot of fun, cutting it in all these funny shapes and angles, because none of it's straight, none of it's square, but yeah, that's all done. I've gone around all the edges with this sort of sound block sealer stuff. That just gives it a nice tight seal. We've also finished off all the ply around our opening. I've also gone all the way around this hatch from the other side with expanded foam. I just need to trim all that off, but I'll do that later. And now we just need to do all of that exact process again with plasterboard. And this is what it looks like now. I've managed to lose my voice in the time it's taken me to do that. I currently have a cold, but the plasterboard is all done. It's looking very nice. That was a lot harder to do than the plywood because it's harder to cut plasterboard. But again, we've got all these nice funny angles. Managed to get it in nice and tight all the way around. There's absolutely no noise coming through there now into that bedroom, which is absolutely perfect. That's just what we wanted. I've got the plasterer coming tomorrow, so by the end of tomorrow that'll all be plastered. And then we're just onto the decorating. Now, there was a bit of wood that went all the way around this wall, and I took that off because basically I'm having shelving going all the way up these walls, so that was kind of in the way. But by doing that, it's ripped loads of the mortar off of the walls, so now there's loads of horrible holes all over there. But when the plasterer is here, he is also going to come and fix all of that. We've also got a little bit here which looks a bit horrible. This is where the radiator used to be. I need to try and patch all that in and put a new bit of skirting on. Now, I have also noticed we've got a little bit of a damp problem here. So as you can see, the paint is all sort of flaking off the wall a little bit, and that is because it's getting damp. It is actually a little bit mouldy here as well. So we do need to address this because obviously once I've got all my stock in here, I don't want my stock getting damp and mouldy. I think I know what is causing that issue. So if we look out this little window here, and you can see there's like a guttering, and it's completely full of moss. So what's happening is it's raining, and instead of the water going down the guttering where it's supposed to, it's all dripping down the wall, it's going through the brickwork, and then it's obviously causing that damp problem. So what I'm going to do now is try and climb up here outside and try and dig all that out. Right, so we need to come down this little alleyway. Excuse the mess, that one needs to go to the tip. But we've got a ladder there, and I'll see if I can show you it. To try and climb up there, have a look at the guttering and see if we can sort that out. Okay, this isn't easy. I've just stood on that and broken it. Now there's like timbers each side that hold this roof up. But if I stand in the middle, I definitely will fall through. You can see our windows here from this side, look at the state of them. But I put a plastic sheet before I did the insulation and boarding. So now any rain just drips down that. That's actually working really well. But yeah, we need to see if we can get all the way to the end of there without breaking our neck. Right, it's a little bit difficult to film this because I've got to hold the camera and also not fall through. Right, this is gonna, don't know if this is gonna work. more solid there. Right, that's 1 foot. I think we can stand on that. That's windowsill there. Right. Okay, there. So far, so good. Right. So this is the sort of issue we're dealing with, look. All the moss in the guttering. Okay. Could see that window there from this side. See our insulation. Right, and our issue is there. We need to get up there. Just get to that bit. To be honest, up here, pretty good. We'll try and get all this out. God. I wasn't expecting to be up on a roof today with a cold. And there we go, there's our culprit. It's completely full of mud and moss, and there's plants growing out of it. Right. Let's see if we can pull this out. I should have probably brought some gloves. Wow. It's completely full of mud. Wow, where's all this mud even come from? So much in there. Wow. No wonder it's leaking down the wall. That's just loads and loads of mud. There's a plant. Quite a nice day as well, nice view. Nearly filled this bin bag up. Okay. I think we've done it. Right, that should do it. Let's have a little look. I don't know if my shadow's in the way, but yeah. That is completely cleared now. So water should come down here straight into there. I think that lead is all right. Job done. Okay, time for a little update. So we have a plastered wall. That is all done. Put skirting on around the bottom. That's still just drying out, but yeah, that looks fantastic. Started to get a bit of filler on around the walls where we messed up there. Everywhere else as well that needs it. We've done a repair here. Doesn't look very pretty, but it'll do the job. We're going to have probably a packing table or shelving or something there. Just repairing some of these cracks and bits. But yeah, this is probably the last time you're going to see this room before it's painted. Also, we're doing some repairs on this bit outside. I've had to put a sheet of plywood in there to cover all the holes, and then we're going to fiberglass it all. See if I can show you that a bit better. What we're doing, it's not finished, but luckily we can actually do that just by hanging out the window instead of climbing up there again. Okay, so we've made quite a lot of progress since the last clip that you watched, so I thought I'd whip the camera out, give you a little walk around and show you what we've done. So as you can see, this room's now finished, fully decorated, all the fillers done, all the paint's done, and that is looking very, very nice and fresh, nice and clean, nice and tidy. We've got our repair on the wall there, which has come out very, very nice. You would have never have known that there was a gaping great hole in that. I've also got round to looking at this window. I don't know if I've mentioned anything about this window before, but basically this was like seized shut, and I thought I was just going to leave it because this is literally about 300 years old, but I've actually managed to get it to open and close This little thing, this little hook, just goes on there, look. And that's all working perfectly. So we can now open the window, let some air in when we need to. And as I say, I'm really shocked that this is fully operational, not rotten or anything. It's great. We've also had to move the power box, which used to be there, and we've had to move it over there. I don't know why I ever put it there, to be honest. I always knew that there was a sink and a kitchen bit going in here. And obviously you can't have a power box next to water. So we've had to move that over here. And you may have noticed that it is now hooked up and we now have lights. And look at how nice and bright it is in here now. I'm so pleased with that. Now currently, what he's done is he's obviously hooked this up. We've got all the lights fitted and he's just put a temporary double socket on there. We don't have any other sockets in here now other than that one. And the reason for that is I don't know where I want them yet, so I need to decide where I'm going to be putting them, and then he's going to come back and then just whip all the sockets on, and then that will be all the power sorted. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of bubbling coming through on this wall again, but I think that is only because it was still damp when we filled it and painted it. So I think if we let that dry out a bit longer, we're just going to have to rub that down again, paint over it again, and I think that will be okay. Because our repair out here is now finished. Don't know how well you can see that. It's all fiberglassed up, and I'm pretty sure there's no water getting in there now. And we've made some pretty big updates in here as well, so I'll just show you those. One of them being the lights. It's been a long time coming to get them fitted, because since we boarded the windows up, it's been very dark in here. But now it's the total opposite. It's very bright in here. And those are absolutely fantastic. Super pleased with those. We've also got some shelving up. Now, I haven't put it all up yet. I wasn't even planning on putting these up because we're not quite finished in here. But we had to clear out that room there and get all the stuff out. So I thought I'd just put a couple up just to get all that stuff out of the way. But yeah, just gives an idea of what it's going to be like in here. So this room is going to be the stock room, basically. Now, I did a little design on my computer. I measured all the rooms and stuff, and I spent a good few hours mapping out exactly where I'm going to be putting all my shelves, and trying to figure out the best way to position them and what sizes to buy them in, just to maximize the space that I have in here. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but I thought I'd just show you this program. It's called Sweet Home 3D, and it's free, and it's really good. So all I had to do was measure the length of all the walls that I had in my unit. I've then mapped that out onto this program, and then all these little boxes that you see here, these are all the shelves that I've designed to put in. I found a company where you can sort of change the length, the depth, the height of the shelves that you want to buy. So this program has been fantastic for being able to map out exactly where I want everything to be. So for instance, if I want to see if a certain size shelf will fit, I can just go to the size, so it would be 600 deep and I don't know, 1800 long, and then you can use that and just move it around your room and see if it's actually going to fit or not. So I've basically designed the perfect design in my eyes, how I want it. So yeah, I thought I'd just share this in case anyone needs to do a similar thing. And then we've also had to change the floor. So basically we used to have that green carpet in here. We've had to do away with that, and the reason for that is the original floor in here was all sort of up and down and wavy and stuff, and it wasn't suitable for putting shelving on. So what we've had to do is put what's called a floating floor in, and that's basically big long sheets of chipboard flooring that lock together. And then literally that just lays on top of the old floor, and that just levels it all out, and it sort of creates a nice solid strong surface for obviously putting our shelves on. And it also makes a perfect surface for putting carpet tiles down. So I managed to get an absolute bargain on Facebook Marketplace, and I've got these used black carpet tiles, and I paid 50p each for these. Now they are a little bit dirty, as you can see. Once we are finished in here, I am going to go over this with a carpet cleaner, and that will come up real nice, I think, once that's cleaned. We did also get these chipboard flooring boards from the guy that was selling the tiles. So I went to go and see the guy for 50p each, absolute bargain. I think it was £75 in total I paid for 150 tiles. And then when I got there, he said, "Oh, are you interested in these chipboard flooring boards?" And I said, "Well, actually, yes. I was just about to go buy some from B&Q and pay £25 a sheet. And I managed to get literally exactly enough to do this place. And it worked out about £8 a sheet. So that was an absolute result. And yeah, the reason we've cleared this room out is because the next job I've got to do is continue that chipboard all the way in through here. Also, we've got to do the carpet. And then once that's done, I keep saying once that's done, it will be finished. But yeah, once that's done, it's still not completely finished because we've obviously got to build our testing station and photo station, kitchen and everything else. But yeah, as you can see, it's really coming along now. It's really starting to take shape. Just, I can finally see the finish line now. I've been working on this place for 4 months. Basically, whenever I can get up here in my spare time, in between doing eBay, I've been coming up here, doing a bit here and there. And yeah, I'm just super excited now because I'm finally starting to see what it's going to be like. Right, it's been just over 4 months now since we started this project, and a few weeks ago I decided that I'm gonna stop filming every single little detail just because it's taking me too long to get it done. I just want to get it finished now, and we are basically at that point. I'm about ready to move into here now, move out of the shed and move all my stuff in. So I thought now would be a great time to end this video with a nice little tour, and I'll show you how it all looks now. Right, so this is what it looks like from the outside now. We've got our front door done, we've got our toilet done. Now I will do some overlay videos to show you what this stuff looked like before. So as you can see, we've got a nice fresh new door on here. We've also repaired all the frame at the bottom. That was really, really bad before. It's all been freshly painted. The toilet looks lovely now. We've got a nice new toilet seat. Obviously it's all been cleaned thoroughly, also given it all a lick of paint. We've repaired the wallpaper that was all coming off and crumbling off, stuck all that back down. So yeah, we have a fully functioning, lovely looking toilet. And then the next thing I'll show you is this little alleyway. Now I never really showed this much before, but this was completely full to the top with rubbish. So we've cleared all that out. I have been using this during the whole renovation process. It's been very handy having this to just dump all my rubbish and bags and stuff while it waits to go down the tip. So when I am moved in here, this is going to be a very handy little space just for putting rubbish basically. I've also got myself a nice wheelie bin, which I keep forgetting to put out. I've also installed this little parcel box because I'm always ordering stuff off Amazon. I didn't want to get a little letterbox and then they start leaving packages out in the rain. So they can just stick them in there and that's then kept safe. Also put a little sign there just to make it clear what that actually is. So I'm really pleased with that. And then we move over to the front door. This is actually the original front door, but I've just basically restored it. Originally it was sort of catching on there, wasn't opening and closing properly. Didn't have a weather bar on the bottom. I've added that, so that makes the rain actually drop off of the door rather than rotting it. Obviously we've repainted it to match the toilet door, repainted that grille. I've also put a nice new address plaque on there. And then we've also put a little hook on the back here just to keep that open while I'm loading stuff in and that. Also nice new handles. So that's that. And then we move on to the inside. So we've ran that black carpet all the way through the whole building, basically. That's come all the way up and down the stairs. I've also put these nice aluminium trims onto the corners. That just protects it and also gives you a nice bit of grip as you're coming up. We've just painted all this. That's all we've done with this. I have actually broken that window by accident by leaning on it, so I do still need to fix that. We have fit a new door on here. Just show you that. Very nice and strong. That just gives an extra layer of security. It just opens out like that. Got a nice little magnet catch on the back there just to hold it, so that just stays open most of the time. And then we have the main storeroom. So as you can see, it is absolutely rammed with stuff. I've been buying and not doing much selling over these past 4 months, as you can see. Now I played around with the design of all of this, how to lay it all out and stuff, and the way that you see it now is after hours and hours of consideration of where to put it and how to maximize the space so I can get as many shelves in here as possible. And basically this is what we've come up with. So we've got these aisles here and obviously plenty of space either side to get stuff on and off of all of these. Now this isn't very organized at the moment. It's literally just different job lots chucked on shelves. Eventually I'd like to convert all this unlisted stuff into listed stuff, and then I think we're going to have boxes going all the way along that wall. That'll be the listed stock, and then obviously we'll have that all skewed up. I am going to be creating a new SKU system, so I have bought a few boxes there. My intention with this shelf is for it to be the intake shelf. Currently every shelf is the intake shelf, but eventually once we're on top of things, new stuff coming in will go straight on there. And then it'll get processed and then it'll go into the boxes once it's listed. Ideally, I'd like this full of boxes too, because obviously unlisted stock doesn't make me money. I want everything listed as soon as it's coming in. And then we've just got a little shelf with like packing supplies and stuff. And then we move into here and we finally have a nice new kitchen. Look at that, I'm really pleased with this. So we've got a sink, running water, hot and cold. Made a little shelf there to put the microwave on, keep it out of the way. Obviously it's just a tight space, so if I put it there I wouldn't have room for anything else. I broke my kettle, so I got to order another one to go on there. We've done some tiling around the edges to obviously stop the water splashing back and stuff. Nice little cupboard underneath. That is our water heater. Currently not connected up, it is installed, but the electrician still needs to come and actually get that sorted out. And then obviously we've got our little fridge, just for keeping milk and stuff in. Now I haven't moved into this room yet, as you can see. Over the next week or two, I'm going to be putting all my testing station and everything in here. We've got loads of shelves and all sorts of things going on in here. I have put one shelf up, and you may be wondering why it looks like that. That looks a bit weird, doesn't it? So basically this is going to be my photographing area. Now what I didn't want to do is have just a table for photographing that's low down, because that's what I have currently in my shed, and obviously I have to slouch to get to it, does my back in. So what I wanted to create was a nice standing height photographing area, but also I wanted to not waste all of the space that's below that and above that. So what I've done is I've modified this shelf by bolting on basically extra bits of leg, so I can jack that right up there. And then this is obviously going to be the photographing area. I am going to be putting like plywood on the back and on the bottom, and then put in my backdrop, so that would just be like wood effect, sort of lino. And the reason I've jacked it that high up is so I've still got plenty of height to be listing sort of tool items. I had a think, and the tallest thing I ever really list is these guitars, and as you can see I can still get that in there nicely. Obviously we have got a nice width as well, so plenty of room there to be laying out loads of stuff. Normally I only really use sort of that much space for photographing most things, but that does sort of just give me the option to photograph larger items. And then obviously we've got two massive shelves underneath, which I'll be filling up with all sorts of stuff. And then we've got a nice big shelf at the top there, which I can store stuff up there as well. Now, I did actually order legs for these shelves that are that height, but the guy messaged me and he said that they've all got damaged and that I had to wait 3 weeks for them to arrive. And I can't wait 3 weeks. I want to get in here and I want to get cracking. That's why I've had to do this. But when they do arrive, I will be replacing that. So that little bodge there won't be there anymore. Now, I'm planning on putting shelves that high also here, as you can see, because the ceiling goes right up, so that would just give me some more height on that one. And then we are also going to do the same on the intake shelf as well, so we can get a lot more on that too and not waste any of that space up there. And then, as you've seen, obviously the black carpet has been ran throughout the whole place. Now, we did run over that with a carpet cleaner, and I was hoping that by doing that, they would become a lot more uniform in colour. But unfortunately, obviously, where they are, some are a bit more worn out than others. They're a bit kind of mismatched. They're not all sort of one colour. And if I could change one thing in this place, it would be using different tiles, because that does my OCD in proper. Now, it doesn't matter. It is a work environment. This is going to all get traipsed through and walked through and dirty and stuff anyway, so I'm not too bothered about it. And once I've got all my desks and tables and testing stations and stuff in here, there won't be much floor space left anyway. So overall, very happy. As you can imagine, this has all taken me a very long time. 4 months, just over 4 months. I couldn't be happier, to be honest, apart from the carpet tiles. But yeah, I'm super excited to get moved in here and actually get cracking on selling all this stuff, because to be honest, I've ran out of money now. But the whole idea of storing all this stuff in here and not stopping buying stuff was basically so that when I'm finished, I'd have an enormous amount of stuff to list and get through. And basically, once all this stuff is listed and sold, not only does it pay for everything I've spent on this place, but it would pay for it, I think, 2 times over, because there is some really good stuff hidden away in all these random unsorted bags. So finally, that is the end of the video. I think this is the longest video I've ever made. 4 months worth of footage put into one. If you've made it this far, you are an absolute star. If you have enjoyed watching this video, please hit that like button. I feel I deserve it after all the hard work I've put into this place. It's been absolutely insane. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos like this. My next video will be showing you after I've moved in and how it all looks then. And hopefully I'm going to get back on the YouTube hype. Obviously, I've been busy doing this. I haven't had time to upload. I will try to upload regularly once I am in this place. So I'll love you and leave ya, and I'll see you in the next one.